The last class we stopped at I think rectangle. So right now we are going to continue from that rectangle and we are going to start with slot. So before we start that, we need to enter a sketch. We are going to click top sketch and work there. So we are in top sketch now. So make sure you are in sketch tab and select slot. For our slot, we have four options. These are the options here in the property manager side. You can see the first one is straight slot, which I'm going to demonstrate now. And we have center point straight slot, which is the second type. This is it. So let me select the first one and demonstrate it. Come to your work area, click your starting point. You see a construction line. Click the second point and then drag your mouse outward. You can either drag this side or this side, then click. This is how to use the first option. And to use the second option, click on this option, click the first point. As you are dragging to one side, the line is extending, the construction line is extending to the other side. That's how this one work. Then you click. After you click, you drag also. So the third option, we are going to use arc to define our slot. So we are going to use 4 points to reference that arc. The first point, we are going to click. Second point, we are going to draw our arc. And the third point, we are going to define the radius of the arc. And the final point, we are going to form our slots. That's how to use the other option. And the fourth option is this. We are going to use 4 points to define it also. The first point will define the center of the arc, and you will see a preview of the circle. So that circle is going to form a arc. Second point is where we want to start our arc, and the third point is where we want to end our arc, and the fourth click will be to form our slots. So these are the these are the four methods by which we can create slots in Solidworks. So you can use either of the three methods to create slots depending on what you want. And also we have arc. To create arc in Solidworks, go to sketch tab, you will locate your sketch tool. But before I do that, I'm going to clear the screen so that we can have a clear work area. So I press the escape button to leave slot 2. So I'm going to select what I have on my screen and I'm going to delete using my keyboard. Then I'm going back to select arc and we have three options here. The first option is center point arc. The second option is tangent arc, this, and the third option is point arc. The first one, which is center point arc, we are going to use 3 points to draw the sketch, to draw the arc. So the first point will be the center of that arc, like center of the circle from which we are forming the arc. And then the second point that we are going to click is the starting point of the arc. And then we drag our mouse this way to draw the arc, or you can drag this way to draw the arc at this side of the work area. Then the final point that you are going to click is to define the the um the length of the arc. Now, to use tangent arc, you need a straight line to reference it. So to do that, I'm going to draw a straight line from here to here, and I'm going to pick my arc, then come here to select tangent arc. So I'll start from here and create my arc. One thing you will notice is that immediately I created this arc, there was a relationship here, which is what? Tangent relationship. It is showing that this line is tangential to this arc at this point. That's what that relationship means. And the final one, which is this, which is the 3 point arc, we are going to use 3 points to divide this type of arc, to draw this type of arc. So the first point is the starting point of the arc. The second point is the end point of the arc. And the third point that we are going to click is we are going to define the length of that arc. So now, these are the three methods of creating a arc in SolidWorks. And I'll proceed from how to create arc to drawing polygon in SolidWorks. So to draw polygons, let me clear the screen. To draw polygon, click on polygon tool, and you have to then insert the parameters. We have the property manager here where you can insert your parameter. This option for construction, if you don't want it for 3D purpose, let's say you just want it for construction, click here. But now, let's say I want five-sided um five-sided polygon. So I'm going to add 5 here, and then come to this area, start and draw my sketch. Now I have my pentagon being formed. We have inscribed circle here. We can change it and make this circle to be at this point by clicking here. You see it coming out. You have it circumscribed cycle instead of inscribed cycle, touching the side of the polygon. So if I want to increase the sides, you can change the number of sides in that box. Just increase it to 7. Press enter. There you see the number increased. So that's how to add polygon in SolidWorks. So just click this OK. And the next thing is spline. We have several options too. We have 3 options. But the first one is spline. The other one is style spline. While the final one is equation driven one. But I'm going to go through spline alone and show you how to use spline. there are some parts that we can't use straight line, arc, or circle to define. So it will be perfect for us to use spline to define them. So click spline and start your sketch this way. So now to give spline dimension, just click on this spline, click on, just drag, you can drag it around. So you can give dimension to spline by coming to smart dimension, pick the points and give dimension to that point to the other point. So you see your dialog box, just insert the value, probably 2000. So then, and also you can just click left click, right click on this spline. By add, you can add points, that is split point on this spline. You see I've added split points here, and I can add it to some other places on the spline so that I can define my spline very well. So that's how to use spline in Solidworks. So the next thing is ellipse. How to create ellipse in Solidworks. So to create ellipse, we have um not just ellipse from that toolbox. We have ellipse, partial ellipse, parabola, conics. Those four options are there. So if you click your ellipse tool icon, it has been activated. Just start your origin. Then you have a preview of the circle from which the ellipse will be formed. Now you can draw your ellipse this way by moving your mouse around. So it's not a must to have a perfect ellipse yet. You can just form one and then add dimension to it. So from here to here, you can give the dimension. No, this way. Let's say 800, and then from here to here, you can give the dimension to probably 500. So now we have our ellipse defined. So we have the sketch now. So to use other options from this tool, which is partial ellipse, you can create partial ellipse using the same method too, probably this way. And then you drag your mouse to start the to select the first point and the end point of the ellipse, of the partial ellipse, and also the parabola to start first point, see, second point, and then you start drawing your parabola. So that's how to use the parabola. And we have fillets here too, which is sketch fillet and sketch chamfer. If we have edges, sharp corners, these tools will be used to avoid or to remove sharp edges in our sketch. So let's let me demonstrate how to use both fillet and chamfer. So let's say we have a rectangle and you want to remove the sharp edge. Just click the fillet, come to this point, this point, this point. You can add the radius of the fillet. Let's increase it to 50 so that we can have something visible. Probably now, this is the preview. If you click OK now, then we have the fillet and the radius is defined here. So that's how to use fillet in SolidWorks. So to use chamfer, I'm going to use rectangle to also demonstrate how to use chamfer. They are kind of similar, but the chamfer is not won't have radius, but to be like in form of rectangle. So click, and you can use distance to define chamfer, or you can use angle distance to define chamfer. If you define the first distance to be, let's say 100, and the angle 45, okay, and the angle, this is it. You have it defined. You can change the value from here to from 10 to 500. Okay, okay, now it has been changed and it's feasible now. So you can let me demonstrate how to add it again. Let's say 500, and I'm using distance that is equal distance. So now I have from here to this point 500, and from this point to this point 500, or you can add it here too. If you select these two lines, it will pick the edge. So there are two ways of selecting for both fillet and chamfer. So that's how to add fillet and chamfer to your sketch in SolidWorks. So to add points, probably you want to reference a point on your sketch. Just click on that point and come to anywhere on your sketch area that you want to add it. But I want to add it to this line. So I'm going to pick this point and add the point. Adding this point, I can use it for adding, I can use it for dimensioning. Probably I'm going to select smart dimension, pick this point, the this point, smart dimension, pick this point, and then this point. Then I can add dimensions from that point to the other point. Let's say 2000. So this that is distance from here to here is 2000. So that's the essence of adding point to sketch. And also you can add text to your you can add text to your sketch in SolidWorks. Now, if you want to add sketch, you have to reference edge, sketch edge or curve that you want to add the text. So I'm going to use this line to reference the edge of my text, and I'm going to insert the text in this text box. Now, so okay, it's not showing. I'm coming. So Okay, I don't know why it's not showing up. It's not showing. But let's go to some other entities that we can use in SolidWorks like um, trim entity and extend entity. So to use trim entity and extend entity, probably you have some sketch that you want to trim away in your sketch to give you perfect sketch. Let's say you are trying to create a title block for your work. Probably start start a sketch to create our title block now. So then we have to divide our lines. You can use some features instead of creating several lines. So let me show you how to use linear pattern. You can use linear pattern to create several lines, like to duplicate lines in a linear pattern form. Now click this direction, that is this direction, and the entity to pattern, this is the box. Okay, select this point, and here add the distance between each line in this box. So let's use 1000 to be feasible. Now we have our lines. So number of lines, that is instances, probably 3. So now we have 3 lines plus the first one. So that's how to duplicate our pattern or sketch using linear sketch pattern. So click, and then the first one, you can fix this line. Then you can add dimension from here to here. So I fixed this so that the dimension will not drag it either away from other two lines that I pattern, so that I can have uniform dimensions. That sketch. So I'm going to add 1000 to that sketch too. So now we have these lines being extended away from this box, and we don't want it to be there. You can just use trim entity to trim off the unwanted sketch. So we have several options here. Power trim. To use power trim, you have to click empty area and drag your cursor to any sketch you want to delete. You see I'm dragging, and it is trimming them off. If I should drag inward, it will trim this. If I should drag this, it will trim. If I should drag across this line, it will trim. Dragging across this line, it will trim. So I'm going to undo these commands by pressing Ctrl Z so that I can show you other ways of trimming sketches. You can use corner trim to trim off sketch. So if I click this uh click this line, it will trim off every other thing outside that corner. See, this was deleted, and the sketch here was also deleted. If I also pick this side and pick this line, these two lines, this line and this line, will be deleted. See, it's corner trimmed. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z again to demonstrate how to use other ones. Trim away inside. So you select, okay, this won't work. So Let me show you the most commonly used one. Trim to closet. That's what most of the people use. Just click the line and it will trim to the nearest sketch, nearest maybe line or sketch. So trim. So I'm going to trim this side too. So now I have perfect border and title block, and I don't need to trim anything again. So now let's say I want to extend. Probably I want to extend this line from this point to, let's say, around this side. The first thing I have to do is to give a line that will demarcate where I'm extending to. So let me give the dimensions from this point to this point. So I'm going to give it to the, let's say, 3100. Now I want to extend this line from here to this line. Click this drop down arrow, click extend. Okay, click. As you are click as you navigate this line, you will see the preview showing up. You can click and extend. So this is how to extend line or sketch in Solidworks. So we have this line that we want to trim, and then click this drop down arrow, trim entity, check if it is trim to closet, and then you can trim it here. So we have press escape. So now we have our title block ready. So that's how to use um trim entity in SolidWorks. So to also use this convert entity, to convert an entity from one plane to probably another plane. So to demonstrate that, I will create two planes in SolidWorks. I will create two planes and use it to demonstrate this sketch tool. So to create a plane in SolidWorks, with time you understand the necessity of planes. The reason why we create several planes, because you need some you there are some features you can't use, like that you will not be able to use except you create several planes, maybe two or three planes. Then you draw your sketch, you add relationship, and then use the features. So to create planes in SolidWorks, come to feature tab. Your reference plane, let's say I want to use front plane to reference my plane. So I have to leave the sketch mode. So I'm leaving. So top plane, and I'm going to use this top plane to reference my plane that I just want to create. So go to geometry, reference geometry. Make sure you are in feature tab, this line, this drop down key, then click your plane. Now we have plane that we want to create. So to define this plane, we've used top plane to reference it, and the distance between the top plane and the new plane that we want to create is going to be 10 mm. So let's make it visible and add and make it, let's say, 50 mm. So now we have the distance between them to be 50 mm. So now the first plane that we use for referencing, which is the front plane, is hidden. So you can just click on it. You see the eye symbol, eye, an icon of an eye, of eye. So that's how to show um your plane. Just click it, so you have it shown on your screen. Now it is not going away. So just click on this plane, come back to sketch mode, click this plane and sketch on it. So let's say we sketch a circle. So after sketching that circle, then we leave the sketch mode. So now this circle is a simple sketch, but let's say we have a very complex sketch and we don't want to repeat the long process to make the same sketch in this plane that we just created. Instead of copying it, instead of creating new one, you can just copy it from this plane to this other plane. So just click on this plane, start sketch there, and this is the sketch. This is the, you can rotate your, you can change the orientation of your sketch. Click this sketch and convert entity. So and convert entity, immediately you press convert entity, we have the same circle being projected here. It has been copied to this plane. So that's the function um of convert entity. Instead of us to keep on creating sketch over and over again. So what you can view from this plane, if you are if this plane is parallel to the screen of your laptop, what you can view from here while looking at this plane, it will be the one to copy to the plane that you want to convert that sketch to. Now let's say I want to convert this, let's say I want to convert this sketch to a plane that is not parallel to this top plane. The sketch that will be converted will be different from what we can see from here. So now we have um right we have right right plane. So I'm going to use that right plane as a reference plane to create another plane. So I'm going to create another plane which is parallel to right plane. So I'm going to give the distance of 50 mm. It is there already. So if I don't want it to be at this side and I want it to be at this side, I can just flip it. So you see the difference. So flipping is changing from one side to another. So now I want to convert this circle, either here or here. I want to convert it to this plane. So I'm going to click on this plane, start my sketch. So this first one, I want you to see what's happening. Instead of selecting here, you can come here, your picture manager tree. You can click here to select and then convert it. You see, what can you see from this side? It's not a circle, it's a straight line that you can see from this side. So that's why we don't have a circle from here. So it is just what you can see from that side that will be converted to the plane or the area you want to convert a particular sketch to. Let's click the other sketch, which is the second one. Or let me just click here, same method, and then convert that entity. Now you see what we have. We don't have a circle too. We have a straight line being converted to that plane. So that's because we can only view straight line if we are looking at that sketch from this side. So that's how to use convert entity in Solidworks. So to use these other features, which is offset, you can offset any shape. So now let me delete some of this sketch so that let me delete all this sketch so that we can have a clear screen to work. So I'm going to delete everything I have on the screen. going to hide this plane again. So I've hidden it. So I'm going to start sketch. So let me use um rectangle, and then I'm going to use, okay, so I'm going to add relationship to this point. I want them to be good. So I'm not adding dimension, but I'm going to trim off this side. So okay, you see the difference. We have black color here and we have blue. It simply means this line is fully defined, this is fully defined, while other lines are not fully defined. They still need either dimension or position to be fully defined. So if I want them to be fully defined, I can just probably add relationship to here. So, and let's say give dimension from here, either clicking this point to this point, or just pick this line. They are the same thing. Okay, okay, let's say 60. So, and this point can then fix it. So fix. Now it is fully defined also. So if you just fix this point too, it is fully defined, but that's not really necessary. It won't affect your sketch. I'm just trying to show you the difference. So now your fully defined is sketch. Let's say you want to offset it, just click offset. The distance at which you want to offset this, let me click this sketch first. You see, this is what we are going to have. We want to offset this sketch. So either you want to increase it or reduce it. So which distance do you want them to, the distance between the new one and the one you are offsetting? Let's say you can change the distance here in this dimension box, offset distance box. So let's say 5, it's coming closer. If you increase this to 15, it will become wider. And also, if you want it to be inside, then you check the reverse. So you can then change it to 5. So if you want it to be both outside and inside, you can click by direction. So you have it outside and inside. That's how to. So this base geometry, which is the one you are offsetting, you can either make it um a construction line. If you click this way, it simply means this base geometry will become construction line. And if you say the new one that you are creating, which is this two offset, if you select offset geometry to be a construction line, that means these two offset that you are trying to form is going to be, it's going to be formed using construction line, not solid line. So but I'm not using a construction line, so I have to uncheck it and click. So now we have offset of this base geometry. That's how to use offset in Solidworks. So there are other options too. We have mirror, we have linear pattern, circular pattern. I think I've shown you how to use linear pattern, but I've not used circular pattern, mirror entity. And we have other options too. We have move, copy, rotate, scale, and stretch. So let me just show you how to mirror entity. For you to see yourself in a mirror, you need a mirror, isn't it? So let's say I want to mirror this sketch. I need a sketch that will perform the function of a mirror for me. So now let's say I'm using a straight line and is serving the purpose of a mirror now, and I want to use that mirror entity. So after clicking on that mirror entity, we have which entity do you want to mirror? That is entity to mirror. So I want to mirror all these entity. I'm selecting these sketches. So it has been selected. Where do you want to mirror it about? Which is the mirror. I want to mirror it about here. So you see we have the mirror preview here. So if you want this to be copied like what we have here, if you want the copy, if you want it to be, if you want it to remain here, you have to check this copy. If you want it to be deleted from this side, you have to uncheck the copy. Let's demonstrate it too. I've unchecked it, that means we won't have it here. Now we have it only here. So I want us to have it at both sides. Let me use that mirror entity again. What do I want to mirror? This. I want to mirror this box. So now it has been selected and I want this copy to be here. I want it to remain here. Click mirror about and then click here. So I've checked here. Definitely you are going to have it here and here. So I'm going to click OK. Now we have it at both sides. See what we have? This simply means we have symmetry, relationship. What we have here, we have them here too. So that's how to mirror sketch. Now let me show you how to move sketch and stop here today. So if you want to move sketch, which entity do you want to move? Probably you want to move this. So I've selected them. From, we have two options. From which point to which point? So we are going to select that from a point, that is from this point, and I'm moving it to this point. You see, this, as I was moving this other sketch, it was moved also. That was because they have symmetry relationship, and that was because we mirrored them. So that's why anytime I move this will also be moved. It's because of this relationship, this um symmetry relationship. So that's how to mirror. Let me delete it and demonstrate how to move entity again. So I'm deleting it. So now let's say I just want to move a rectangle. So to move it, this is the option, move entity, and then which entity, it has been selected already. So I want to start from the beginning. Move. So what do you want to move? Entity to move. Select it. It has been selected, and click here and then pick the starting point. Then you can then move around. After you move it, the end point, then click. So it has been moved. That's how to move um, sketch in Solidworks. So I'm going to stop here today and continue probably in our next class.